Welcome everyone. This is Dr. Francois du Toit. I am here with Claire Boshoff, my life coach. We're very honored to start a new season in terms of our creative careers. This is going to be a new podcast series with the video recordings available for everyone on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. For those that are on YouTube and for those that are listening in on audio only, I honor your time and your support. So Claire, tell me a bit more about yourself and maybe also how our paths initially crossed.
That's an interesting question. I think we were both on a growth journey. So first of all, thank you for having me. And we fell into the Mind Valley scene.
Yes.
And because of Mind Valley, we kind of connected, like finding out who lives in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we connected. And it took a little while. I mean, I think we still texted here and there, but it took a while before we actually got together. And then really started our growth path together, you know, in the life coaching, in the health, into all the different parts of our life where we need work on constantly. And it's not a once-off thing, you know, it's like
it's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been years.
How long has it been? About 2 years.
Easily.
Yeah. So we started the journey together, and I mean we've grown a lot together, haven't we? And learned so much.
You say a lot, exponential growth.
Yeah.
I should mention to the listeners, these platforms that we both have been growing on, including Mind Valley, are online personal development platforms. And if there's one thing that I've learned on my journey is that when you invest into these online courses, learning platforms, you can only accelerate your growth.
Sure.
And that's a testament of when I reached out to you, initially hoping to refer clients to someone that would support them on their mental health journey. And then we're so like-minded that we resonate so well. And ever since then, we've been on this journey together to accelerate each other's growth path.
And it's been really good and wonderful. And I look forward to the next 2 years or 10 years because we'll grow even more. So that's what life's all about, is this growth journey.
Exactly. Yes. So I wanted to frame up today's discussion on this wider topic on mental health. And I wanted to delve into the different arenas that we're both engaged in to support people on that specific journey.
Yeah, I think for me, it came out of a need when my life kind of fell apart and I didn't know what to make of my life. And, you know, I was searching for all these answers and that they didn't seem to have answers to. And I found myself into the life coaching space with now me having coaches and you having coaches and then growing from there. So, you know, if we started there, and if you look at mental health in itself, is like, I think sometimes you become the teacher when you had big difficulty, you had to learn, and then you decide from this you want to help others. Yes. Others to make their journey a bit easier, that they don't have this prolonged journey like we perhaps had, into helping others and saying, you know, it's the way how we look at things, the way we reframe things, the way we talk about things, the way we speak, the words we speak. The little soft voice in our head, the thing that it says to us, you know, and how that very voice can either build you or break you. So to me, it's one of my favorite topics. I love it because I'm always exploring it every single day of my life, you know, and every day I step up and every day I go, that's not cool thinking, like let's reframe this, let's reinvest time into this to make tomorrow better than today.
Wow. What stands out for me so much is the awareness that it brings on the thoughts that are going on in our minds and how they're either building us up or breaking us down. And I recognize that one of the best, coaching sessions that you gave me was the insight that, you know, in the beginning, you'll notice the negative thoughts. And then you notice, and you think I get depressed because I think about my negative thoughts, but I'm becoming aware of it. And then you mentioned that, but you can stop and say thank you. You can praise yourself. You can celebrate that moment because you are becoming aware. So instead of going into like a negative feedback loop or a negative spiral, it's like I'm thinking negative. Why am I like this? And you go down this negative spiral into deeper and deeper states of depression. You can start to say like, I'm grateful that I start to recognize my negative thought patterns. And then you start building up. You can only start growing into a positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
And then that is the journey where the transformation actually starts. Yeah. The awareness and then being kind and gentle to yourself in the journey of changing your mindset.
Yeah, and that I think is key. What you say is that kindness and And as you know, life is rough and tough. And then we add rough and tough on top of that. And I think when you bring in the gentle and the kindness and the it's okay, and I'm doing the best with what I have right now and growing from that point. Now you say your point exactly, you start upward spiraling rather than the downward spiral that we found ourselves in. And, you know, the more we do it, the bigger the spiral. The more people we get in contact with. And so, you know, everybody changed lives. They change lives and they change lives. And so we carry on.
And that's a very encouraging thought, is that in the beginning stages, it feels like it's such a, like pushing a big rock uphill. On that journey, I recognize that has motivated me a lot, is that every small step that I take, improving my mindset, improving my ability to see the best in other people, has a ripple effect in terms of everyone I meet and in society. And that has helped me to get through the rough patches of this journey of kind of like delving into the aspects. And similar to your experiences of life that brought you to become passionate about supporting people through, you know, mental health challenges. I mean, I battled with anxiety for the biggest part of my life. I'm talking about 80% of my life. And when you're so caught up in the state of anxiety, it becomes your normal that you can't recognize it, you can't see it. And I reflect back and I noticed that, in fact, from my clients, you know, coaching them through different aspects of their lives and challenges, that I've had many panic attacks in my life. And I never knew, I never understood the signs, the symptoms of what I was going through. And it's just been so enlightening to be able to be kind and gentle towards myself, because with that understanding, I realized that I've been hurt. I was also my thoughts were not very kind to myself. You know, one of the things that I'm the most passionate about at this stage is protecting my state of joy and protecting my state of happiness. So I'm fierce about it. When I'm in conversations or in circles, there's a lot of people that would, especially unfortunately on the internet, of gossip and backlashes and negative feedback and trolling and all these things, right? And then I recognize that the most important thing I can do is to protect myself and other people from that sort of thing, because it becomes an endless spiral of negativity, and it really destroys relationships and it destroys connection and it destroys trust. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's a destructive force. And I think all of us that are growing up in this internet information age need to be wary of the type of energy, or you could say intentions, that we're putting out there in the world. Because as it goes, there's a saying, you know, what you sow, you reap. People that are putting those things out there will manifest a lot of that in their own lives. Not to be bashing anyone out there, it's the nature of the universe. Maybe the impact that this whole, let's just say, the digital economy or the information age has had, and how you balance life with the different things.
It can be fun as part of life, but it can also drain you, right? So in other words, you know, sometimes you've got a really big task at hand, and I was just talking about it this morning, and, you know, you're busy doing something and you're supposed to be like, I've got this deadline, and a little thing flashes up on your screen and it says, oh, this person put out this video and interesting. Oh, and before you know it, you start scrolling, 2 hours is up and your deadline's done. And what did you do it for? You did it for that little bit of a dopamine hit because it feels good, right? That's fantastic, because the information age is incredible if we use it in the right way. I mean, we have access to anything that we want right now. If we don't know something, we can ask. If we don't understand something, we can learn it. It's literally at your fingertips with a phone call. Never mind even phoning a friend. But on the other hand, it could also isolate you from that real person interaction that you get with spending time with people and like-minded friends, you see. So it's a little bit of how do you balance this world of technology that can be so good for me, and then also okay, hold on a second. This is also, we need to live a life. And it becomes difficult. I look at my daughter sometimes and she sits there like this.
Scrolling.
You know, those fingers.
Yes.
On the phone. And then sometimes we actually have to just put a stop and say, no, you know, and then choose the actual thought. Choose, no, let's go out, let's take the dogs for a walk. Choose, let's eat together or do something together. Because it's very easy just to do that while we're in together and to become really present within each other in conversations again.
Yes.
We often go to the, you know, a little coffee shop every now and again, and then the three of us will sit and we'll just watch. And I'd say about 80 to 90% of people, while they're talking, are talking to each other and eating while they're doing this.
Yeah, texting or
so you have to kind of put in those boundaries in place for you and for your family and for your own mental health. And we think boundaries is outwards. I'm making a boundary for this and this and this person. But it's as much an inward journey as I'm making this boundary for me, that I can grow, that we can achieve this. Yes. So I need to adhere to this boundary too. I can't just make them.
Mm-hmm.
This is sometimes where we get a little bit like stuck. So I think we have to actually choose a balance. It's the same like saying, I want my partner to make me happy. Well, you have to choose to be happy first before that partner can make you happy. You know, same in the workplace. I want to be happy at work. You need to choose the happiness first. You need to create the happiness. You need to make it happen for you. But we're expecting it to come from the outside world when it should be an inward journey first for it to show up an outward journey. So this is a mindset stuff. That balance, I know, can be a problem for many, but that's where the boundary comes in, and then choosing the feeling that you want before you actually start into the day. Today, I want to spend more time on productivity, more time on family, less time on scrolling on the internet or perhaps learning. So if you intentionally set your day, then it's not going to run away with you. If you let the day just happen, wow, then anything runs away with you.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes.
You're making me think now, what would you say would be the best way for one of the tools that you've come across that's very helpful for people to understand what actually brings them happiness and joy, so they can start planning that part out in their work life, in their relationships, all these different areas?
I like to start seriously simple and just say, you know what, speak of technology. What are the stuff you're drawn to when you go and do a YouTube search? What is the stuff that lights you up? What is the stuff that you can spend hours on? And take a little bit of that and drop it into your ocean and say, oh, and that's kind of what I did with my business. You know, all the things I loved, I put it together in one bucket. And that's how I found the thing that I love. And now I can show up going, can't wait to work. I can't wait to be productive. And my list is this long, but I'm not freaking out because I can see the potential and it's fun. Whereas before, when I didn't have that vision, it was very boring and I just did what I had to do.
Yes.
And I didn't, and those thoughts then kept me back, you know, because I'm bored, I don't know. So go and start small. Start with the things you love.
You're making me think now. One of the things I get passionate about is ancient history, the way they lived, the lifestyle before all of this technology and electricity. Talking about specifically the castle age, medieval things, and if I think about what you're mentioning, the reason I love watching those documentaries is that the lifestyle was so simple and they excelled in a craft, and that what took them their entire lives to master. And you know, we have such an abundance of opportunities when it comes to different careers and professions, but unfortunately some people get stuck into a work mode where it's only about making money, only making ends meet. Whereas, and it only needs to be that one, like, let's say, title or career. Whereas if the information age has proven anything, it's given the rise of, for example, the remote worker, which is a great shift in the work culture. I think the work culture itself is reeling from the traditional corporate and business structures, reeling because of how many people are now having opportunities to travel and work from anywhere. So if anything that we're learning is that you can combine so many different areas that you're passionate about and create your own career, create your own, let's say, work or job. And picking all the things that you're passionate about, figuring out how can all these things come together to one, to become what your career is focused on. I'm thinking about a mentor that I listened to saying that the goal in life is to find out what you enjoy doing and figuring out a way to get paid to do it. You know, even if that takes years, as you're figuring that out, at least you're engaging in things on a consistent basis that you enjoy doing. And the spin-off effect of being engaged in activities that you enjoy has a ripple effect of improving. If you are in a work culture where it's very much the office worker or the cubicle work, it still has a ripple effect to improve your quality of life and your emotions while you're in that environment. While you're on the side, or progressively working on things that you genuinely enjoy doing. And that makes you, a better office worker. It makes you a better husband or wife, makes you a better father or mother, makes you a better lover. Every part of your life excels because of that time it took to say, this is what I need, this is what I enjoy, this is my passion. And the more you delve into that, I'm thinking about the big performance training that I received on this journey, or flow states training, is that as you progress in terms of developing your things you enjoy, because that includes your passion. And as you develop your passion, you will eventually become purpose. So your life becomes purpose driven. And when you get onto that type of path, there's nothing that can stop you.
I agree. It just lights fuel.
Yeah. It's an endless amount of high octane rocket fuel for your life.
Exactly that.
And then you wake up in the morning, you're looking forward to the day. Because I think a lot of people ask me so much about my energy levels are so low. Why is that? What can I do to improve my sleep or reduce my stress level? All these things related to energy. One of the most powerful YouTube clips, and I'd love to reference it if I find it again, mentioned that one of the reasons why people wake up tired in the morning is because they lack that vision or purpose or enjoyment for the day. And you used an example of children. Children will not only wake up earlier than most anyone else, they'll wake up and they will be dressed and they're ready to do everything, because everything for them is new and it's about play and they're excited. So they can sleep a couple of hours and the batteries are fully recharged because they're running on a sort of positive emotional fuel, positive emotional energy that gives them limitless amounts of energy. And kudos to all the parents out there. I mean, I was one of those children, me and my sister both. Endless amounts of energy. We were diagnosed ADHD or hyperactive. My sister started on medications. 4 years older than me. I'm so thankful to the intervention of the natural medicine doctors we saw when we were young, and also on this path of alternative or natural healing, because she did very badly on the medications. And then I was spared from not needing to go on the medications myself, because we started using homeopathic remedies and herbal medicines and looking at sugar and artificial sweeteners in our diet. That being said, everything is about each person's unique environment. I know for us, as our setting was, in the school system, having to adjust to it. My parents need to be taught how to discipline us so we could be thriving in that environment. Now, thankfully, as it is with the information age, we recognize that schooling systems all must have a form of physical activity, especially for boys, because men are designed to physically exert their bodies and they excel in the practical learning skills. But all of us need time where we are playing and learning through physical activities, however that looks like.
I love that. I think we need to bring more of that into our world.
Yes.
It's a very important point to bring up as well. You have to take all 8 areas. I mean, that can be overwhelming itself, and say, how do I balance all 8 areas in my life?
But there will be people listening that are ready to take that step.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs, they are CEOs, and they work for themselves. And if there's anything that I've learned, is that with the great privilege of being able to work for yourself, is prioritize the time to start to balance out the different areas of your life. Because otherwise you'll be burning the candle at both ends and you will burn out on that journey that you initially envisioned yourself to be on. So you won't, most people like that in this category, they have passion, they have a purpose, they have a reason why they started the company or the business in the first place. But recognizing that you won't finish the race on that journey if you're just endlessly grinding it out. That's actually what I wanted to mention a while ago. Have you ever heard where the daily grind came from?
No.
This is the medieval times. And this is even way back as ancient history, as far back as humankind has used millstones to grind the flour out from the wheat. That was literally the daily grind. It took an hour or two every single day to make your portion of flour. If you're just doing, we don't have to get caught in this monotonous, endless task that doesn't really re-energize us. We can plan out our lives so that every aspect of our lives has an element of enjoyment or pleasure, so that it fuels us. And even if that balance is not there in the beginning, and it won't be, you'll have certain areas that of these 8 that if I do at least one of these activities or focus on one of these core 8 areas every single day, it'll be fuel my body and it will give me so much joy and pleasure. I'll just quickly jump to an example for me. My greatest joy in the day is waking up to see the sunrise in the garden, barefoot. So then I get some grounding and I recharge by being in nature. It's given me, I initially did it because I learned about the science of how resetting the circadian rhythm with more sunlight exposure supports sleep, as well as the sunlight exposure improves every organ and cell, energy, metabolism, heart health, every single area of the body, really. But then I started recognizing I wake up and I am excited and I find joy in engaging in that time in nature. That was basically an unintended side effect of being on that journey. Have you maybe found some things for yourself as well?
Yeah. If I'm walking in sun or rain, that actually doesn't matter. And I'm walking and the water and the sound and nature. It doesn't have to be the beach. I mean, just nature, right? Don't you find your whole day is so productive? You eat better, you show up better, you work better, you interact with people better. From a tiny shift like that of just starting your morning, nature. So in your garden, in nature, it doesn't matter. So I find that if I don't do it, oh boy, my day seems not to go as what I wanted to go.
Yeah, you start recognizing the days you missed it or skip it, which happens. You can reflect like, wow, these days look really different to each other. And you're making me think now of like one of the reasons why that has such a positive influence of the entire day, because if you're going down to really foundational things, there's a form of self-care, that time that you're putting aside for yourself, which you can, I read this quote on the internet, something that self-care isn't selfish.
Everything but.
Everything but. Because self-care is a form of self-love.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to love yourself, how can you love anyone else? And that has a ripple effect into the entire day. So whatever the practices that you choose, make sure that you have time every single day, that you prioritize self-care, self-love. And it will have ripple effects into every other area of your life.
That's very true. I think for me, for all my clients, we all say the same thing. Exactly that. You know, self-care, self-love. Without it, how can you be successful? How can you run a successful business? So if you don't believe in yourself, you don't love yourself, you're not going to love your business, you're not going to love your clients. It's just a knock-on effect.
I'm thinking about how much of every area of business, and especially in our careers, it's about relationships, it's about other people. And if we're filled up with that time that we've spent on our self-path of growth or self-love, it means our cup is full to be able to give and invest in other people. And building those relationships is really the essence of any part of a balanced life. But it has such a beautiful ripple effect when, you know, the team effort comes together and it becomes heart-centric, that people are buying into and believing in the same mission, because it also fulfills and meets their own version of personal growth and success, where they see it's having an impact in other people's lives.
Yeah, that's very true. It's exciting times to live in, don't you think? All of us, because we can sit here and discuss it. We can have 50 people watch it or 50,000 people.
Yes.
And it can make an impact, and they, in turn, make that same impact.
Yes.
Just in a simple thing like self-love.
I wanted to mention something. So most of my listeners have been aware that I've been posting videos for many, many years and online workshop recordings. But what most people don't recognize, and they think of maybe like, he's got any talent. This is something he's been necessarily grinding on for most of his life. And maybe in some areas I have focused and prioritized it. But when I started with public speaking in high school, I was frightened out of my pants. I was scared out of my skin. I would shake. I was sweating palms. The worst is with school is that the classes go and they pick out 5 or 10 people to speak. And I remember this one round of speaking where it skipped my turn 3 or 4 days of the same English class. That entire class you're stressing, and then the second you're stressing the entire time, and then the third or fourth time you have to get up. Your nerves are frayed beyond belief. But that was pretty much my sentiment on public speaking for the longest amount of time. And I recognized the reason why it was so bad is because I had to memorize things. For me, I can't be a speaker if I have just notes that I've memorized, because it takes me out of my heart space.
Yes.
And I'm a heart-centric practitioner.
Same, yeah.
So we're not following any notes for a discussion today.
No.
I was prepared a couple of notes, topics and things I wanted to ask you, but in their essence, I recognize that those are tools that are useful, but I have recognized that, and this is true for anyone that wants to go into, you know, the amazing ability to reach other people on social media or video platforms, is find what you're passionate about and speak from the heart. You don't need anything else.
It's true. One of the things that I think, and you highlight so nicely, is I was scared in my pants to stand there and do this thing, right? Let me tell you.
We say Afrikaans bangbroek, you know, scary pants.
So here's the thing, you know, what I realize is our success or the thing we want lies just beyond that fear. So if you can tackle that thing, I mean, we all had to start somewhere. I remember the first time I made a video, it was probably, I laugh at myself if I watch it. I'm like, oh,
it helps. It's very funny.
I mean, in 10 years' time, we'll be laughing at this was probably.
Yes.
And that's okay. But that's how we grow, right? And it is just that moment of saying, you know what, I'm going to have to do this because this is what my soul is calling me to do. So if I'm scared of this, my soul is saying, hey, you need to overcome this thing to grow a little bit more, to do a little bit more, to find a little bit more, to get to the client you actually want to go a little bit more. But fear holds us back. So sometimes one of our biggest workshops is that fear setting workshop is to say, right, let's tackle fear head on. Let's go and face that monster. And just like a kid, when we're going to face it with a torch under the bed, we end up seeing it was never there, you know?
You're talking about that example. I grew up where I must have watched a couple of movies. I don't mention them because my parents, God bless their souls, would not like to know which ones. But I suddenly had this fear of the monster under the bed. And I remember myself going through nights and nights of this terror of the monster under the bed until I had an idea. What if I could imagine, instead of the monster being under my bed, it was outside of the front door of the house? And that thought, so like, I'm just going to meditate on this, suddenly shifted the monster from under my bed to outside of the front door. And immediately I felt calm. Immediately I felt peace and I could fall asleep. So there are so many different mental or mindset, let's say, tools or tricks just to get you past the initial stages of fear. I know the way that Professor Jordan Peterson describes this, you're starting with this tremendous dragon. It's the big fear, the big obstacle. But you can take that tremendous monster and you can break it down to many, many small monsters or many, many small dragons. Ones that you have the capacity, the energy, the willpower, the ability, whatever you want to call it, to face, to overcome, step by step by step by step by step. And every now and again, we all need to take that leap of faith. We do the daring thing. I've done skydiving. That's one of the most scary things I've done in my entire life.
That was good. I'll do it again.
I would also do it again. I called my parents the previous month, like, you know, I really love you guys. Because I honestly thought I could die. It can happen. You have moments like this, but you have to trust the instructors, you have to trust yourself. And at the end of the day, you know, life without adventure isn't the life well lived. We have to take some calculated risks.
And also be in the community that supports you, somebody who's done it, that says, no, you don't have to worry about this because if you do it this way, it's so much quicker. Or you're gonna, you know, you don't even have to go over that long bridge. We can just hop over this little stream here and we're there.
And as an example with like skydiving, you have a backup chute. What's it called? Well, basically the extra chute. So it's like even the rescue or the backup chute is designed in such a way that it has a 99.999 success rate because it's spring-loaded and it's packaged and folded in a factory where it's done by a machine. So there's like almost like 0% error. So that even if your main chute fails, that rescue chute is the backup. And that's how people are in our lives. People in our lives are support or backup system, and therefore life coaching and motivation and, like you said, shortcuts to be able to reach these, maybe overcome these obstacles in a way that is faster and actually spares our emotions a lot.
Yes, I like that. And the emotions is a whole new ballgame we can talk about.
Yeah, that'd be a great discussion I'd love to go into with you.
Yeah, it's a big one. I think especially for women who are emotionally tethered, you know, is understanding that and using them like road signs rather than no entry signs that we've been doing. Rather using it like speed up here, slow down there, and it's like just teaching you. Your road signs are getting you to the path where you want to go if you just follow it and actually just observe it and allow it playing. But emotions are scary, right?
Yeah.
So what do? We push them away.
Yeah, and when people are already in a very difficult circumstances, they have been overloaded with a level of stress, where the emotional body does literally start to shut down. It's especially because of the way that when adrenaline spikes, the stress hormone, so does cortisol, which is the base natural pain relieving and anti-inflammatory hormone. But cortisol also is a natural painkiller. It's where cortisone injections are chemically based on. So the body's producing this tremendous amounts of cortisol, literally numbing your entire body. And so does if we numb the physical body, we numb our emotions. Unfortunately, the scenario, a lot of people that are on different forms of pain medication, on antidepressants are in, and that's nothing wrong if you're on pain medication or on antidepressants. Acute care medicine is a form of life-saving medicine in the right circumstances. But when we are caught up into this numb state of being, we are in essence saying, I'm saving up a store, I'm just saving up a backpack of stored stress, anxiety, emotional baggage for another day, a rainy day. And that backpack gets heavier and heavier and heavier until it hits you like a freight train, and you feel like, wow, why this, why now? You've been storing these things for a long amount of time. And just starting to be building an awareness, having the support of experts like yourself in terms of mental health and life coaching to help them to slowly unpack that back to the level that they can support themselves and start to engage with the emotional body. It's the best gift that any person can give to themselves.
Yeah, for me too. And I found that a lot of that stored energy actually physically got stuck. It's almost like my nervous system was hypersensitive to noise, to people, to events, to myself, my own thoughts. It took a long time for me to actually calm that nervous system with many techniques, from energy work to breath work to meditation to sleep to just being kind to myself, whatever it was. There's always these different seasons for different things. And now and again, when it comes up and I catch it, it's like, oh, there you are, I see you, okay. And now it's easy to notice and not allow that to take hold of me like it did in the past. Before it was just there, and it was part of me, and I didn't know what to do with it. It was just me.
It's the coping strategy, and it's a useful coping strategy, but not a sustainable coping strategy.
No.
You're making me think about how you mentioned in the beginning how important these people schedule time and plan out their lives. Because one of the practices that I schedule into my day is definitely sitting in the garden every morning. But then every couple of months or 3 or 4 times a year, I've got a dedicated breakaway where you can say go on holiday, I call it my nature retreat, because I go into a far off area in the forest where there's, in essence, literally just a log cabin or a tent in the forest, and settle in there. And I've recognized that the first couple of hours is the most challenging because it's just like, it's so quiet. I just want to do something the whole time. I should be working now. There's actually a state of like distress that the mind goes in because it's so quiet, it's so relaxing in many ways. And I recognize that people need to be kind and gentle to themselves and put themselves in an environment where they can just settle in and notice where their nervous system is at. And I do that alone. Maybe other people prefer to do that with a group of people so they can have support. Probably makes it much more supportive and comforting. And when you do that on a frequent basis, you have this check-ins with yourself and getting in touch with the body. And the rest of the holiday then is just a dream, fully settled in, fully relaxed. And, if some people think like, I can't prioritize that time off, I can't go away for so long on a holiday, you can't afford not to, especially
as single entrepreneurs.
For their self-help or self-recovery. But in fact, when it comes to peak performance, you can't afford not to, because it's actually in those times where you sit and reflect where the best ideas come, the inspiration comes, the solution comes, that moves boulders of obstacles out of your way. You go back into your routines again and you start implementing those ideas. This is so important to the lives of certain high-achieving company founders or CEOs, that they literally have a 4-day work week, and Fridays, either the entire Friday or the entire Friday morning, all they do is thinking about what can I do to improve my systems? How can I build towards a better future for my company or my employees?
More time freedom.
It's vision casting. That's what I've heard it called. And that pays off dividends in terms of everyone growing and accelerating in a sustainable way to the future, because we're solving so many problems.
Yeah. Look, 2 things I want to say about that. My dad had a private zoo, and nature conservation would often take animals and get him to rehabilitate back into nature. But every now and again, he had to hold on to one and kind of hospice it because it couldn't be put back into nature. But he used to be a speaker with these animals. And one of the things that you remind me of is he said, think of a hedgehog. Once a year, it has to go into hibernation. It can't say, well, you know what, I don't have time this year, so next year I'm going to go into hibernation twice, right? It's going to move, it will die. It will physically die, right? And we should start looking at that as becoming one of the biggest sources of inspiration. Let me explain why. If you're bored, let's say now you're in a cruise somewhere. Like you said, those first few hours, you don't know what to do with yourself. There's no cell phone signal, nothing's working, and it's just you and quiet and the bush. And maybe if you're lucky, some running water, right? But you're there. Let me ask you this. After how long do you come up with some amazing idea? In the shower, in a walk, it's like your brain, and then over you want to work. But your brain needs to become bored to give that to you, to find it, because it's so busy all the time with all the stuff we put in it. Actually hasn't got time to go and find that solution, or that thing that you've been wanting. That's where the quiet comes in. Be quiet in the morning, or be quiet in the day, or find time to reflect or journal. That's where that part comes in. Secondly to that was, that's why we do this, is we want to create time freedom, money freedom, location freedom. Any single entrepreneur, small business wants this. And if you start looking for systems, solutions, communities that's going to give you that, you're going to strive towards that, to say, hey, this year, next time, I'm working a 4-day week. End of story. How it's going to happen? New systems, new AI automations, new people that can help me in my business, perhaps employing more people, delegating other tasks, getting rid of things that I don't want to do. That's where we have to go in business. So is to allow ourselves that, so that we can grow, expand, and we get even better than what we were this year.
And that's structuring your life for success, and also a sustainable form of success, because in essence, we've tried to take on too many responsibilities on ourselves, whereas there's only a certain amount of things that we're all passionate about that gives us more energy back for the time and energy that we invest back in it.
That's so true.
And if we can focus on those talents that we've been given, I think we've all been purposed to fulfill those tasks in our lifetime. You'll find that your energy body is always being renewed, and then everything else is something that someone else feels the same way about, but you dislike it. So for someone else, accounting is their dream. They love punching the numbers. They love seeing the business grow. They love figuring out ways to save the company money, or investing strategies, maybe administration. It's their passion. They love the detailed orientation of figuring things back and making everything structured, and multitasking on many different things at the same time. Some people, and there's in every single area of life, there's things that someone else would do better than you can do it, until you figure out this is the thing that actually, this is what I do the best. And this is also what gives me the most energy back. Everything else is a structured process of assigning or delegating to other people.
And we should actually be aiming at employing people that are the best in the field, not as good as us. You know, they have to be the best in the field, and the same with us. For me to run something, I have to be the best in my field. But the thing is, we keep ourselves down here. I just have to have enough, just have to have 1 or 2 clients, just have to. We don't become the best in our field because we don't allow ourselves that kind of growth, because we take it on in ourselves. I need to do the admin, I need to do this, I need to do that. And
you compare to the level that you can do it.
Exactly.
Which is this limited level. We're talking about the limiting beliefs we all have. So we limit it to there. And what made me shift into this and reminding me of this is that what I started recognizing in my practice life is every single patient deserves the best. They deserve the best. So that means that I can't give them the best in these different areas. exactly as you've inspired me to start thinking about, it means someone else needs to fulfill that role.
So give that over to a person that can help that person quicker and faster and better.
Exactly.
Serving that person at the ultimate level, not just what I can do for you.
Thinking about no man is an island. We all need each other. And I have thrived, and I had to make a mindset shift surrounding that, on referring clients away for the services that I know other people could do better than me and serve them in the best way. And it's still a journey, and I'm not perfectly in that area yet. But the more I practice it, the more I engage with my wellness network community, the more it becomes an effortless process through relationships to understand these clients, these individuals need these types of people on their journey.
And that's why your community is so important, not just your clients, but then your referral network. Like you say, your networking and your health network that you have at the moment is to really go and invest time in doing that. But how often do we actually do that? Because we are too busy, because our to-do list is this long. So we're not building our empire, we're building today's to-do list.
I think we should start wrapping up at this stage.
This has been really fulfilling and really fun. Let me ask you one question.
I want to do the same to you.
I want to ask you one question. This year, what has been the biggest moment for you that you thought, yeah, this is where I need to go, or that's what I need to do, or this is how I need to serve? What's been the one thing that kind of jumps up for you?
For me, it's when I started thinking about, when I noticed when my thoughts have been negative and how it pulls me down, I started recognizing that I'm not being kind to myself. And I've been, in my own way, coaching my clients for many, many years, about 12 years, about being kind to themselves. And I started recognizing this last year where I have not been kind to myself. And then I started realizing that this is made to also honor Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. His meditations have been life transforming for me. Is that I need to be courageous in protecting myself from these types of thinking patterns, because they have not been kind to myself. So I need to be my own cheerleader, champion, warrior. I've got my own back. And now it means I have the ability to make the tougher decisions of saying, well, I'm cutting this relationship out of my life. I'm saying no to this business deal. I'm saying no to this project, because those activities or the environment or the people are not the type of environments that brings out the best in me, or doesn't help me to, or they don't manifest the kindness that I want to be towards myself. And that's the thing that I think has been the most,
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Can you get better? That's very good.
I'm thinking for audience, if they'd like to connect with you, how can they reach out to you?
On every platform, I think, almost on every platform. So Facebook, YouTube, Create with Claire, I think, is the one that everybody's like an easy ring, where you can connect
on Facebook
with me.
Especially.
Facebook and YouTube. I haven't been that busy in my social media, which is going to be changing. I've just made a stack of videos right now, and again doing that whole fear setting thing. And realizing that this is also important. Yes, I need to coach, and yes, I need to do this, but I also need to get my name out so people get to know me and how we work and how we are changing lives. Because you only know what you know. If you don't know of a person, I mean, you might not know of the next best person that's going to walk into your life today, right? So the thing is, that's why you and I are growth mindset people, because we're always going searching for it, the answers. So find me there. Otherwise, you can find me through you. I think for the listeners who know you, and the same for me, if you know me, then you can contact Dr. Francois with me. And so we refer to each other, and we make lives easier for our audiences, our friends, and our communities. So let's start building these communities, because this is the stuff that, if I'm having a bad day, I can't perhaps go to my wife because she's having a bad day too, or husband, or whatever the case is. But if you've got a community that's holding you, it's much easier to say, hey guys, I'm having a bad day. You've got a whole structure supporting you.
And because of the community is all different phases of your life, at any given stage where you are in the valley, in the deep depression, there's someone else at the top of the mountain that's at a great place that can take your hand. And it's all our lives are going to be fluctuating. One day you're going to be on the top of the mountain, someone else is, maybe that same person is going to be in the valley and in the dark place again, and you can be in a position to support them. This is the power of community, where they can be at different places and different phases. You can always know there's someone that has your physical back in times of need. Thank you for sharing so much with our audience. I'm so glad that they can learn more about what you're offering and find you online. Please do like and subscribe to our content so that you can see more about the different sessions that we'll be offering. I'm very grateful to you, Claire. You've built so much into me, and I'm so glad to have you on this new season of these video podcast episodes.
It's a lot of fun. Looking forward to more.
For more enjoyment in life, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Very good.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.